Hello everyone, this is me, JG, the author of Blizzard, and welcome to the second part of the Blizzard Audiobook series. If you'd like to follow along, there is a link to the Blizzard book in the description. All that being said, let's get started. Act 1. Karol the Arctic Fox. Shadow was skating across the mountains. He had just gone out of the forest, and now he was crossing the Great Mountains themselves. The range itself was massive, stretching all the way to the deep forest hundreds of miles away, but Shadow was still able to traverse it with ease. As a water bug hovers on top of the water, able to traverse wherever it pleases due to its strange ability, just so Shadow was skating above the heavy snow of the mountains, able to traverse quickly and easily over that treacherous terrain that kills so many. Shadow was looking for someone who he had not seen for a very long time, and who he also knew very well. Now his old friend just so happened to be caught up in an ancient mural that is connected to the purple beams now devastating the world. Karol, Shadow thought. Of all foxes, why him? Although conveniently, his home is in these mountains. Shadow continued to skate across the mountains until he arrived at a point where the snow ceased and rocks emerged. I always knew there was something special about that fox, Shadow said as he began to skate back into the snow. As he was skating, Shadow, lost in his thoughts of his old friend, began to daydream to himself, considering everything that had happened. It was night. Shadow was standing on an island at the edge of a forest, looking off at the beach. Something inside him told him that he should be there, but he didn't know what. Suddenly, Shadow heard a strange noise. It sounded like ice being shattered. No, it was definitely ice, but not being shattered. Being created? Maybe, but he had never heard of such a thing. The sound was getting closer. Shadow remained alert for anything that seemed suspicious. Then he saw a light flash over the ocean. Shadow's keen ears soon caught that the strange ice noise was coming from that direction. Shadow then caught sight of a black figure over there, holding something generating light from his hand. It seemed to walk on the water, but he looked as if he was about to slip at every step he took. The figure then looked at Shadow, and Shadow looked back, making eye contact. The figure then got mad, and it made a long black icicle out of nothing, seeming like it was going to use it as a weapon. Weird, Shadow said. So this thing can create ice from nothing? Maybe it's not walking on the water, as I previously thought. It's using its ice to try to get across the water quickly. The figure stumbled again. Shadow laughed. Doesn't seem to be doing a very good job at it. The creature heard him, got madder, and shot 2 blasts of ice from his hands. Shadow quickly jumped out of the way with the reflexes of a cat and the speed of a hawk. One blast landed on a rock, and the other landed on a tree. Shadow skated over to the tree and saw what the creature tried to shoot at him. It was ice, but not any normal ice. It was completely black, yet still transparent with glowing purple cores inside it, like veins. This is unlike any ice I've ever seen, Shadow thought. He hit it, but it did not shatter, nor did it even get a scratch. The creature, which was now closer to the shore, shot another ice blast at Shadow. It missed him, landing on another tree. So you want to fight, huh? Shadow said. You have no idea what you're getting into. You have no idea what you are getting into. Shadow boosted over the water like lightning, and he was able to get a glimpse of the creature. He looked like an Arctic fox, like one would find in the mountains, although Shadow had not seen any for a long time. He did not appear to be normal, however, for his fur was black and purple, and his eyes were purple. The icicle he was holding had the same black one with glowing purple veins, like he had previously shot at Shadow. He had a long furry tail and had a depressed, scared, and angry look on his face, all at once, if that is possible. Shadow zoomed behind him and kicked him back with such great a force he went flying to the island. When he kicked him, the fox dropped the light he was holding and sank to the bottom of the sea, getting dimmer as it sank. The fox lay on the sand and Shadow boosted behind him. The fox then got up quickly, but Shadow teleported in front of him and kicked him to the ground. Weak, Shadow scoffed. The fox, alarmed at Shadow's strength and speed, got up and shot ice beams at him. His aim was very shaky and off due to his fear, so Shadow was able to teleport and dodge them all easily. Then he slammed the fox with his fist. Clearly, you are not accounting for my strength, Shadow taunted as the fox got back up and tried to stab Shadow with his icicle. Shadow dodged all his attacks and beat him as he attempted. Or are you just so proud of your power that you thought you could somehow beat me? Just shut up! The fox shouted in vain as he shot at Shadow, and the trembling throughout his whole body caused him to miss. Shadow grabbed the icicle as the fox tried to stab him. He ripped it out of his arm and threw it on the sand. Shadow wanted to get this fight over with quickly. Chaos control! Shadow shouted. All of a sudden, time stopped, and everything in Shadow's vision went gray. Shadow used his power to kick the fox extremely hard into the stomach to defeat him with just one blow. Time resumed, and he went flying back into a rock. Shadow boosted over to the fox. He was lying on the ground, defeated. Pathetic, Shadow sneered. You have great power. Unnatural power. Evil power, I would say. It's a shame you don't know how to wield it, or our fight would have been interesting. Never show your face on me again. The fox sat up on his knees as Shadow turned and started to walk away. Then he started crying. No, he breathed, wiping his tears away. I'm strong. I promised. It's not my fault. Then this he said, and other phrases like it as his breakdown continued. Shadow stopped walking away. His conscience was hitting him. To this day, nobody knows why Shadow changed his mind. Even if he asked him himself, he could not answer. Maybe a sense of pity mixed with a sense of duty. Shadow was concerned about the strange corrupted eyes that this fox was using to protect the world changed his mind. But sometimes a change of the heart in the most cold, stone-hearted people could not be explained. But it is known that Shadow went back to the fox and crouched down in front of him. Look, I can help you. I see what this strange power is doing to you. It's hurting you and greatly corrupting your soul. You are not this strange assassin-type character. I can see that. So for the sake of this world and for your own sake, I'm offering my aid. To start, I need to know something about you. Who are you, and how did you gain these strange powers? You, the fox stuttered, can help me? Yes, Shadow said reluctantly. Now tell me all you know. How do you know if I can trust you? Do you want my help or not? If you refuse it now, you'll never get it back. So come on, talk. The soul of this fox was like a waterfall blocked off with a stone. The offer to speak to someone, especially someone who could offer real aid, was like removing the stone. My name, he said, is Karol. I was born in a village of octar foxes in the mountains, which was a long way from here. I look quite different as a child than I do now. Well, I'm 14, still technically a child. Instead of the black on my fur, there was white, and the purple was blue. My eyes were blue as well. As a young child, about the age of 4 or 5, I don't remember, my parents discovered I had a strange ability. The ability to create ice out of nothing. My parents brought me to the village elders, who had a weird look on their faces, almost like they saw a ghost or something. So they commanded my parents not to allow me to use my powers no matter what, for the good of the village. They told my parents that there are people out there who wanted to harm me, by extension the whole village, because of my powers. So I hid my powers from the rest of the village. Nobody knew I had these powers, so I had no problem fitting in with others. Sometimes, however, I used to use them in secret. The village is built mostly with stone, with snow placed around the bricks to make them look like igloos. A pretty neat trick if you ask me. There's a town hall in the center, and to the right of it, there was a military camp. There were shops of all kinds as well. It was really quite a beautiful place. Karol grew silent with an upset look on his face. The tears from earlier had already ceased, but one more was shed. He began again. One day, the earth started to shake. Nobody knew why. I was about 13 at the time. Some shouted, "The world is ending!" or "He's breaking free!" Not like I knew what that meant or anything. The memories of that terrible day are a blur to me. Here's what I remember. The ground started to split in two, and many foxes fell into the crack. The military camp was split in half, and one half fell into the void. More foxes fell. I tried to use my powers to save them. I failed. Not a single fox was saved that day. I watched my own mother fall into the abyss. One of the elders saw me using my powers and said to me, "Not only until you fail twice will you accomplish your goal," as he fell into the abyss. Everyone died, and it's all my fault. I wasn't strong enough. Karol broke down crying again. Shadow sat there awkwardly for a while until he said, "I know the pain to lose everything you love. I'm sorry." "Thank you," Karol sniffed, wiping away his tears. Now where was I? Ah, yes. I passed out in front of the village. I woke up the next day, and the earthquake had stopped. Half the village was gone, and the other half was unrecognizable. I blamed myself for the village's destruction, and I ran into the nearby forest. I ran for who knows how long, until I snapped by a tree and started crying. I don't remember how long I sat there. Sometimes it felt like 5 minutes, and other times it felt like 5 days. I fell asleep, and when I woke up about midday, then this strange creature appeared in front of me. It looked like it was made of black and purple smoke, but being sustained in the shape of a person. The only part of its face was visible was its eyes, and they glowed dark purple. It had a crown, a cape, and a scepter. It was all part of its body, if it had a body at all. "Who are you?" I asked. It replied in a dark, horsey voice. "A friend. I saw what happened in your village." "What about it?" I asked him defensively. "You were too weak. You know this. I can help you get stronger." "How?" I asked. "I have a higher power. Your ice is far too weak. I will give it to you, on a condition." I, blinded by the desire to be stronger, said immediately, "Yes, I accept. Make me stronger." Then I was lifted up into the air, like I was being pulled by an invisible rope. I looked down and saw the creature. He was raising both his arms high in the air, and a black energy was being shot out of them. I felt like I was being drained of all my energy, not like I was gaining anything. But I loved that feeling. I sat down, feeling sick and unnatural. "Now," he commanded, "shoot a beam of ice." I shot one, and it looked like the ice you saw earlier. I was pretty surprised. Using the ice gave me a pleasure unlike any other, but it felt unnatural. "This ice," he explained, "is virtually indestructible. It is invulnerable to heat, which should ordinarily be your weakness." "I am finally strong," I said foolishly. "Yes," the creature said, laughing. "Now for your condition." "Yes, I will do anything you wish," I said. "You must kill." "Kill?" "You already agreed to the terms. You said you would do anything. Are you a liar?" "No!" I responded terrified, feeling that I may lose my new power. "Just a little stunned. A little bit of the old me left over," I replied, trying to laugh it off. "You must kill Shadow the Hedgehog." "I've never heard of him," I replied. "He is a great enemy. Take his life from him." I nodded in acceptance. "Here, take this crystal." When he gave it to me, I saw that it looked very similar to my black icicle I made to kill you. "It will start to glow when it is time to seek him out," the creature said. "It will go brighter the closer you get to him. With your new powers, it should be a breeze." He laughed. What must I do now? I asked him. Train your powers. This shall be your home until the crystal lights. You might get some visitors. They can provide you with food. Farewell. As he said that, he faded, turning into smoke. The smoke, however, did not go up, but rather descended downward. I stayed there for a long time, at least until I turned 14, my current age. Sometimes, other purple shades like the first, without the crown, scepter, and cape showed up. They gave me a strange mess of purple smoke to eat, and on nights when I ate that, I would fall asleep and wake up in the middle of the forest, having to find my way back. At daytime, I would try to increase my skills, but I just got further addicted to using my powers, and my fur gradually turning black and purple the more I used it. Earlier today, I was attacking a tree with black icicles when I noticed the crystal start to glow faintly. I knew it was time. So I dropped the icicles, grabbed the crystal, and ran into the forest. Eventually, I ended up at a beach. I was confused about what to do next, so I held up my crystal over the water, and it got brighter when I aimed it towards the island we were on now. I had to find a way to cross this ocean. I tried many things until I thought of placing ice across the water and stepping on it to cross the sea. Since ice is virtually indestructible, I did not have to worry about it breaking apart, nor did I have to worry about it moving in the waves. It stayed exactly where I wanted it to for some reason. But the problem was how slippery it was. I was barely able to keep my balance on the ice, so I kept moving at a snail's pace towards the island. I would make a stretch of land, walk across it extremely carefully, and make another. I did this over and over again, checking the crystal continually, until I found this island, with you standing on it. I'm sure you know the rest. That is my story. I hope it helped. Thank you, Shadow said. Then, he contemplated what to do. It seems like his ice powers originated at a young age, he thought. They don't seem to be inherently evil, but these sketchy black ice powers need to be destroyed. Wonder if I could convince him to reject these powers right away. No, he's far too addicted right now. He just wants to remain strong. He's convinced that being strong is the only path for him. The only way for me to really help him would be to gradually remove his evil powers over time, while promising him that he can still remain strong. How can I do that? Karol was watching Shadow carefully as he thought. Would he force him to remove his powers? I got it, Shadow said aloud. Then he went to approach Karol. Hey, Karol, right? Yes? Karol asked. The only way for me to help you is if you get rid of your black ice powers. What? Karol shouted. But this is who I am. Without these powers, I'm nothing. Don't you understand that? I understand that is nonsense, Shadow spoke smoothly. I know that it's hard to accept, but that is the truth. Take it or leave it. But I also know that it will be hard for you to leave those powers you've had for so long. That is why I'll offer you my aid. I want to train you. Train me? Karol asked. In what? I will help you for as long as you need to renounce the black ice powers. In return, I will train you to become a master in combat with your special ice abilities, so you don't feel worthless or whatever. I see great potential in that power, and it'll break the lie that you're nothing without this evil ability. You were given a gift. Don't waste it like this, Shadow said. I don't know, Karol muttered nervously. Trust me, Shadow said. Just take the first step. You know this is unhealthy for you. Karol paused. He looked at the ocean and saw his black icicle on the ground. He stared at it and thought about all the pain the black ice caused him. Then he looked at Shadow. Okay, said a hesitant Karol. I accept. I will renounce the black ice. As he said this, the black icicle faded into the ground. A great ravine interrupted Shadow's thoughts. Like a great river splitting two bodies of land, so too, hundreds of miles above sea level, the ravine was splitting mountains. Shadow had crossed great distances while skating at incredible speed with his thoughts moving quicker, but now he had to find a way across. Suddenly, he caught sight of a troop of 3 flying bandits hovering over the ravine. So the doctor has been here too, Shadow said. They were all proceeding at once, side by side, a perfect bridge for the ultimate life form. Shadow waited for his chance, then he leaped off the ledge. Shadow used his teleportation ability to teleport to the first robot. He had kicked it to gain momentum, sending his remains down to the abyss. He did the same with the second robot, only hitting it this time, and finally, he teleported to the third robot. Kicking it, and using the momentum, he barely managed to push to the other side. The doctor really needs to step up his game, Shadow smirked. Shadow took off back into the mountains, gradually building his speed up. He was skating with his usual vigor, again using his special shoes to stay above the snow. Shadow felt a chill due to the cold. He remembered why he was doing this and who he was searching for. Reality faded into his thoughts into memories, as he remembered the type of student Karol was. At first, the sessions with Karol were very similar to their first meeting. Shadow knew that this would take some time, like a stonecutter molding a stone, slowly chipping away at the stone to create a masterpiece. But Shadow's patience was tested after hearing over and over again how Karol said he was a failure, and that he would be nothing without his powers, or that he is too weak. Shadow tried not to resort to physical means. But over time, Karol started to wake up to the harm his dark eyes had done. By the second month, Karol started to use his normal ice powers again. Now Shadow could fully start training him. He taught Karol how to quickly make shapes with his eyes, so instead of making just icicles, Karol could quickly create an ice dagger on the spot. He also taught Karol how to fight. He taught him the importance of dodging, not just to strike randomly, but to be wise and intelligent with his skill, find the enemy's weakness and exploit it. Karol would occasionally get frustrated and start to use black ice again, but Shadow stopped him. Sometimes, Karol would try to sneak black ice into his regular ice, but Shadow again caught on to this and told him, "If you keep holding on to this, even just a little bit, it will never leave. Does she know what this has done to you? Does she know you don't need this to be strong?" By the ninth month, Karol had managed to fully suppress his black ice powers. He still had them in him, but he gained the willpower to permanently stop using them. At the same time, he was becoming a greater fighter than he ever was, thanks to Shadow's training. Karol's black and purple fur slowly changed back to white and blue. Then, one day, Shadow gave Karol a strange device. "These are retractable ice skates," Shadow said. "A friend made them. You just apply them at the bottom of your shoe. Whenever they detect ice on your foot, they'll activate. They also have a tendency to stick to ice. They'll only get off the ice if you will." "What do I need these for?" Karol asked. "Oh, I'm going to teach you how to skate," Shadow answered. "I remembered your idea of getting across the ocean, and I thought I'd work great over all sorts of terrain, if you can increase the speed and agility. So I commissioned a friend of mine to create these ice skates." So Shadow began to teach Karol how to ice skate. Karol started learning over the ocean to avoid any major casualties. Shadow hovered over the ocean with his air shoes, while Karol created a bit of ice to stand on. It was a difficult process. Karol had to learn to ice skate on a thin strip of ice, which was hard enough, but he also had to learn how to place more ice at the same time. Shadow's guidance and experience skating, although being a different type, helped Karol greatly. After 2 months, Karol got the hang of skating on the ocean. After 3 months, a year since Karol started his training, Karol mastered his ice skating on all forms of terrain. Karol and Shadow would often skate together in the forest, destroying the occasional Eggman robots they would find. Shadow now knew Karol did not need his training anymore. Having fully renounced the black ice, the world was safe. So the two separated as friends, promising to meet again. Shadow's thoughts came to a close as he arrived at a cave in the mountains.